Good morning, Sakelanders. How are you? We hope that you're very, very well. I've just had a slice of toast with some mince, game mince, Blesbok, I believe, of Mr. Miller's secret recipe. It's very nice, and in fact, I hosted a little braai, or I convened a little braai over the weekend, and we had some of that Mr. Miller's secret recipe Vors that he'd given me, and people spoke very, very highly of it. So there you go. Ask Mr. Miller for his secret recipe. Tell him you also want some. This is an incredible story. This is my third attempt at this video. In the last attempt, before I went and made myself some toast and a glass of Disprin. I got so worked up that there would have been an outcry. I was really not very nice. I was right, make no mistake about it, but people wouldn't have taken it well. And I was standing making the toast, and I was so that I thought to myself, I better have an extra strength Disprin just to thin the blood, ease the pounding in my head, and so on. So I'll try to do this one coolly, calmly, and collectedly. But this is the world in which we live. Bloomberg, today is Wednesday, the 16th of November, by the way. On the 7th, Bloomberg Media, Bloomberg website, a liberal financial website owned by Mike Bloomberg, the billionaire, reported the United States quietly asks banks to keep some ties with Russia, even as Congress balks. Congress being the Parliament, the House of Representatives of the USA, and then the senior house, the upper house, the Senate, as we in South Africa once upon a time had a Senate. Together they are called the Congress. Do you believe this? These people are shrieking from the rooftops about the war in Ukraine. While meanwhile, the USA is telling US banks, keep doing business with them. Don't let anybody know. And there's a reason. Well, let me read the sub-headlines as well. So, the US quietly asks banks to keep some ties with Russia, even as Congress balks. Treasury, that is to say the Ministry of Finance, and the State Department, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, prod JP Morgan and Citibank to bank some Russian firms. Congress lambasted banks for continuing to do work in the country, that is to say, doing work in Russia. Here's some more coverage. The Biden administration is trying to maintain sanctions pressure while avoiding a global economic catastrophe. The Biden administration is privately urging leading US banks like JP Morgan Chase and Citigroup to continue doing business with strategic Russian firms despite sanctions imposed upon Moscow over the conflict in Ukraine. The requests have been made by the US Treasury and the State Departments as the government tries to maintain pressure on Russia, but at the same time avoid a global economic catastrophe. These hypocrites. Do you believe this? They are sending weapons that are being used, and it is well known that they are being used, and there is documentary evidence of them being used now for 8 years, just approaching 9 years. 9 years in a few months' time. To bomb the civilians of Donbass. Look up the, is it called the House of Trade Unions in Odessa? Where they locked the doors and burned the people alive inside. Many people. And the Avenue of Angels. The Ukrainian prosecution of this war that began in 2014 has been vicious, to put it mildly. And the USA has sponsored it every step of the way. In fact, it was the United States of America that sponsored and drove and agitated the coup in which Viktor Yanukovych, who won a democratic election to be president of the Ukraine in 2010, was deposed in 2013. This is all the USA is doing. All of it. But they've messed up so badly. They have created in the background an economic catastrophe of such proportions that as they prosecute the war, so too are they saying to those banks, listen, as you know, we're about to enter a depression worse than the 1929-30s depression. And we'd like to stave it off as long as possible, if you don't mind. And the only way that we can do that, the only extra additional way, is to break our own sanctions on Russia. So we'd like you, if you don't mind, to, like us, engage in one of the greatest acts of hypocrisy, deviousness, and deceit ever in mankind's history. Washington has been requesting services transfers. I don't know what it's... hang on. Washington has been requesting services such as US dollar settlements, payment transfers, okay, and trade finance for Russian firms that are exempt from certain aspects of the sanctions, including gas giant Gazprom and fertilizer producers Uralkali and Fosagro. As a result, the largest American banks are currently being caught in the push-pull between the Biden administration and Congress, which insists on harsher measures against Moscow. I haven't prepared well enough for this video to competently dispute the following, but let it suffice to say, for whatever it's worth to you, that Simon Roche claims that one thing here is utterly false. One phrase. Washington has been requesting services such as US dollar, blah, 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 and trade finance for firms that are exempt from certain aspects of the sanctions. That is, you may take my word for it, a stretching of the truth that is tantamount to a rank lie of the first order. It may be that some firms or some aspects of the sanctions, as they put it, are not, like, let's say the sanctions included two things, apples and pears, and implicitly hybrids between apples and pears. Pepples. Right. They're saying, well, you know, This is all about oranges, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, mulberries. I tell you that they may not be engaging with, providing finance for apples. But I am telling you that pears and purples, and of course the strawberries, raspberries, pears and purples. So you've got your white, you've got grey, you've got dark grey. It's only a shade or two before black, where they honestly and truthfully draw the line. Nevertheless, I just wanted to cover this. Because it's just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So know this, ladies and gentlemen, beloved Saitlanders, and know it well. Never, ever, ever trust one word that comes out of their mouths, regardless. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you appreciate this scandal. And we look forward to seeing you soon. I'm laughing because I'm getting an advertisement there that I've never seen the product before. Tromox motorcycles. They're encouraging me to become a distributor for Tromox motorcycles. Who knew that they existed? Anyway, guys, take very good care of yourselves. We look forward to speaking to you very soon. Goodbye and God bless all of you.